Most of the time, vampires are the villains in Hollywood movies. They're portrayed as soulless bloodsuckers who pose an existential threat to all humanity. But sometimes, even a vampire can be a hero, and that's the case with Morbius, the Marvel anti-hero portrayed by Jared Leto in Sony's upcoming Spider-Man spin-off movie. To help prep for this new addition to Sony's growing Spider-Man cinematic universe, here's everything you need to know about the man they call the living vampire. Dr. Michael Morbius was a respected biochemist suffering from a rare and fatal blood disease. Desperate for a cure, Morbius performed dangerous experiments on himself using vampire bat DNA and inadvertently transformed into a living vampire. Well, he wasn't actually bitten by one of the many vampires that live in the Marvel Universe. Morbius's condition has many of the same symptoms. He has a never-ending thirst for blood and must forever live apart from human society. Despite the cruel hand life has dealt him, Morbius does his best to use his knowledge and his vampiric abilities for good. He's proven himself capable of heroic deeds many times over, both as an ally of Spider-Man and a member of teams like the Midnight Suns. But even so, his dark side always threatens to consume him. Though Morbius is not a vampire in the traditional supernatural sense, he has many of the same abilities. He possesses superhuman strength and speed, limited flight, and the ability to hypnotize others. He also has a Wolverine-like healing factor that allows him to recover from otherwise deadly wounds. Morbius can sometimes infect his victims with pseudo-vampirism, though this only happens in certain cases. To satisfy his thirst for blood, he uses serums, and he's developed a special formula using Spider-Man's blood that quenches his thirst for longer periods of time. Morbius also lacks traditional vampire weaknesses, crosses, garlic, holy water, etc., though his skin is susceptible to burning in daylight, if not to the extent of most vampires. Whoa. And no, he doesn't glitter.
This is the skin of a killer, Bill.
Morbius was created by writer Roy Thomas and artist Gil Kane, debuting in 1971's Amazing Spider-Man number 101, the first issue not written by Stan Lee. The character was conceived after the Comics Code Authority lifted certain restrictions on the use of vampires and supernatural creatures in comics. Still, Morbius's status as a living vampire was necessary in order to adhere to the CCA's regulations. The character was inspired by Thomas's love of classic science fiction films, while Kane specifically modeled Morbius's appearance on actor Jack Palance. Initially, Morbius was cast as a tragic villain figure. His own story became intertwined with that of the Lizard, another Spider-Man villain who inadvertently transformed himself into a hideous monster while trying to cure a physical ailment. However, it was not long before the character branched out on his own. He became a recurring player in 70s-era anthology series like Vampire Tales and Adventure into Fear, where Morbius's long-standing feud with the vampire hunter Blade was established. I'd watch that movie. Given his vampiric trappings, Morbius has proven to be a difficult character to adapt, especially in Marvel's kid-friendly animated projects. He did show up in 1994 Spider-Man, the animated series, but because of strict censorship standards, this version of Morbius was only allowed to be depicted as draining blood through suckers on his hands. Also, the dialogue emphasized his need for plasma rather than blood. Well, in the animated series Ultimate Spider-Man vs. the Sinister Six, he became a life force sucker rather than a blood sucker. You can see the trend here. Morbius has also shown up in a bunch of video games, and while he was originally intended to be the villain of Blade 2, that idea didn't pan out, which means the Jared Leto film will be Morbius's first live-action appearance. Hopefully they'll let him drink some blood and he won't have suckers on his fingers. Are you excited to see the Morbius movie? Tell us in the comments section, and don't forget to check out our explainer videos on Mysterio and Batwoman. And as always, be sure to follow and subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch.